Hello, everybody. Welcome into our pre-show here at Computer America. As always,
1 minute until showtime.
We have a terrific show planned for you. In the second hour, it'll be Computer and Technology News brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And in the first hour, we're going to be talking to the CEO and founder of something called Workbench. Well, if you love to tinker, explore, make, create, and discover using robots and circuitry and things like that, you're going to be very interested in what he has to say. He's going to be joining us for the first hour of the show. And I hope all of you had a wonderful weekend. And in about 30 seconds, we're going to begin 2 hours of the Computer America show coming at you right here, right now, at this location and your location. Okay. Oh, and Ben's here with us, too.
Thank you. It's good to be recognized.
Yes, it is. All right, here we go in exactly 10 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show about computers and technology. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it is a beautiful Monday afternoon here, at least on the East Coast of the United States. And hopefully all of you had a wonderful weekend. There's so much going on and so much good and so much bad. I feel hesitant and saying everybody had a wonderful weekend because I know a lot of you who listen to the show are just in areas where there not many good things are happening. But we can always hope for the best, and hopefully all of you did have a good weekend. And we have a terrific show planned for you today. As always, in the second hour, we're going to lead off with Computer and Technology News. That will be brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. I understand there's a lot of Pokemon hate going on out there. I don't know what that's all about, but we'll find out a little later on in the show.
Not hate, but
dislike?
Discontent.
Discontent. All right, discontent.
With the agility of the game. So.
All right, so we'll get into that. And in the first hour, we're going to be talking to the founder and CEO of a company called Workbench. Basically, this is a very interesting company. They basically say if you love to tinker, explore, make, create, and discover, using robots and circuitry and drones and all that type of thing, you're going to want to hear what they have to say. Joining us will be the founder and CEO of Workbench, Chris Sleet. He is going to be joining us for the first hour of the show. Now, if you have a comment or question for us or for Chris or for Ben, myself, just give us a call. Pick up the phone, 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. If you're radio shy and you don't want to go on the air, we make it simple too. Just head over to our website, ComputerAmerica.com, and you'll see on any page there's a menu bar, and the second item from the left is live stream, and beneath that is submit a question. Just click that. You'll be taken to a question submission page where you can type in anything you like, hit the submit button, and Ben and I will see what you typed immediately. Okay. The other thing we encourage you to do is watch our show. We offer live video streaming of Computer America. Again, head over to ComputerAmerica.com. Right there on any page on the menu bar it says live stream. If you just click it, you'll be instantaneously teleported to our live video streaming page. You'll join the show already in progress. And you can not only listen to the show, you can actually watch the show, and you'll be able to see our guest today, Chris Sleet. You'll also be able to see Ben. Ben has the technology to display websites, videos, links, that type of thing. So you'll actually be able to see what we're talking about. It makes for a richer experience. Matter of fact, anything you want to know about our show is at the internet home of our radio broadcast, ComputerAmerica.com. Again, also just want to send out a congratulations to our social media winner of the week last week, Philip Jason Heiself in Christiansburg, Virginia. He won the Logitech M535 Bluetooth wireless mouse. Congratulations to him. And you can always head over to computeramerica.com and enter our social media contest where we give away a Logitech prize every single week. It could be you. Who knows? You know, we'll be calling out your name.
Is VA Virginia?
No, that's why I changed it. I went to Virginia.
No.
I guess VA could be, technically. I mean, NY is New York, right?
Yeah, I thought VA was Vermont. So
yeah, it's
so it's not Vermont. It's Virginia. Okay.
Virginia. Yeah. Exactly.
That was a joke because it's Vermont, but
Vermont.
whatever, folks. Craig didn't catch it. It's Monday. It's early.
Yeah, I know.
3 p.m. We're just waking up here. It's it is what it is. So yes, hopefully all of you had a wonderful weekend. And if you didn't, then Computer America is here to pick you right back up.
Yes.
We'll do our best. No promises. You can't report us because you can't. So, like Craig said, check out computeramerica.com. We have lots of great stuff going on there. Everything that we talked about today on the show. Don't feel pressure to recall it, remember it, what have you, because all the resources you need will be, of course, at their website, and of course, all the links will be at our website to what you need to know.
Speaking of our website, are we getting ready to make the change again? I know we do it every couple of years.
Every year now.
Yeah, every year now.
We're not any closer than I was last week. So yeah, it really it's daunting when you write down. It's kind of hard when you write down a list of everything that you want in a website, and everything has to kind of go where you think it should go. It's kind of hard, it's kind of like a big jigsaw puzzle, but no one tells you what the final picture looks like. So you have hundreds of pieces that all need to fit, and they all need to fit correctly. And if they don't, then no one's happy.
Well, but you have things to help you like that. I realize. I think we've agreed that we're going to go back to Wix. We were there for a while, then we went away, went to WordPress, and now we're going back to Wix. They've added all kinds of new things, and they are going to be on the show, by the way. But tell about all the new things. But they give you they give you a lot of help, and they give you templates, right? So you can kind of.
They give you templates, but there's no template for Computer America. So.
Well, it's we're unique, Just
right. I looked. There is no, nationally syndicated tech talk show template.
Well, yeah.
Very niche. So, it's either adapt a bakery's template website or try to start from a little bit more scratch and,
Well,
make it yourself.
The nice thing, though, is that you've learned enough about website design to do. You've created a lot of websites in your history, and so you're coming to it with a lot more clarity.
I'm coming to it and realizing there's a lot of work that has to be done. I don't want to do that work. Computer games are just a click away, or I could work on the website. So yeah, let me tell you how my weekend went. The website's not done. I think is what I'm getting at. So, but no, that is on the horizon, folks. Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, and I think you're a lot like your mother too. She works best under pressure. I think you get that from her. She just likes waste it and then okay, I'm going to do it, and sits down and does it all. So they're doing a little bit at a time.
What's life without deadlines?
That's true. All right. Well, as I said, we got lots. Just one. Well, I can talk about it in the second hour. Really, there's a new TV show series that I've started to watch.
Yeah, that's second hour stuff.
Yeah, we'll get that big in there. All right. Well, then that said, I think we'll bring our guest on, and I'm very interested to speak with him about this. And I guess our guest this hour is from Workbench. Workbench loves to tinker, explore, make, create, and discover using robots and circuitry, and gardens, and drones, and all sorts of material that can be worked into projects. You see, you name it, and Workbench can create it. This kind of project-based learning and exploration is what Workbench is all about. So they created a community where like-minded people can come together to engage and inspire each other with their own ideas. It's very cool. Now, Workbench has partnered with some of the most forward-thinking maker product companies in the world to be on the leading edge of innovation. Now, here to talk about it is Workbench is its founder and CEO, Chris Sleet. Hey, Chris. Welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
We're just doing really
We're doing
fine.
well.
Yeah, and as you can see, if you're watching our live video, there's Chris now, and I mean, when you go to your website, and there's a lot to see here. So I think what I'd just like to start off with is, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about Workbench itself and the kernel or the idea behind it and what it is that you do at Workbench?
So our job at Workbench is to make project-based learning as accessible as possible to kids in classrooms, to DIYers, to makers that are in any place throughout the world. So on the Workbench site, you see lots of projects that use some of our partner products, and you see projects that use anything from nails, soldering iron, glue, anything that you can use to do a project to learn something else in addition. So take a robot, dip it in paint, roll it around on a piece of paper. Maybe you learn some programming, maybe you learn some art. Those are the types of things that those are the types of projects that you see on the Workbench and on the versions of the Workbench that we build for our partners.
Now, what was the idea behind it? I mean, where did you come up with this concept? I mean, are we at lunch one day, or how did this all kind of happen?
Well,
I always like, especially when I get a founder or CEO of a company, I always like asking that question because sometimes you get some really interesting answers. Go ahead.
Well, so my kids are growing up a lot differently than I did. I grew up in rural Pennsylvania. Had a lot of downtime and reasons to kind of learn how to entertain myself. And I'm seeing my kids grow up in a more urban environment. And we, from when I was working on my last company, I was starting to think about, all right, what gets me excited? I was probably going to be leaving and trying to start something new, and what was getting me excited was seeing my kids doing projects that kind of had sneaky learning inside of it, and that was the kind of an original thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give them an assignment, and they're going to
edutainment or something.
Yeah, it was more.
I think that's what you and I grew up. That was a really great game, but you were learning how to touch type at the same time while shooting down aliens. I mean,
Exactly. And we didn't invent project-based learning. They've been doing project-based learning, since people had kind of organized thought about education. But giving somebody a thing to do, and you always get at least two things out of it. You get better at that thing. You get better at building a tower. You get better at programming a robot or flying a drone. But you usually get a second thing. I learned what vectors are. I learned why a propeller works the way that it works in the process of learning that thing. So that was a piece of the puzzle. What can I do that kind of I felt like there was a hole in the project-based learning. I wouldn't even know what project-based learning was when I was first doing this. To be fair, I just saw that there was a hole in how my kids were learning and how my kids were growing up, and giving them these projects. And I thought, well, is there a business there? Can I combine this passion with a real business? And there's so many amazing product companies out there who have cool things that just need a little bit of help to get them in the hands of customers who want to also learn with them. There's consumer products, there's already education-based products that just need a little bit of help to get access to the formal education market or to the hobbyists.
And how do they come to you, or do you seek them out, or is it a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, early on, certainly it was us seeking them out. We were very fortunate to work with a partner who's just really pushing the envelope in the Sphero company, and we had been talking with and getting started with lots of other companies in different ways, but they've really invested a lot in the education space and in being able to share and grow an education community, and we've been the backbone for their Lightning Lab, and it's just been a great combination where we were just getting rolling. We had our designs out. We had good reviews, but having an anchor customer like them was incredibly helpful for us to get lift, and now we have more inbound interest with getting upwards of 11 customers in this market.
Okay, and we're going to get into some of these actual projects, and with you here. Now you mentioned Sphero. Is that the little orb that kind of rolls around on its own?
It is. It
yeah.
is. So they are the company who makes the Spark Plus, which is their education orb that's programmable, and that's what the Lightning Labs built around. But they also are the developers of the BB-8 robot and Ollie as well, all of which are programmable with block programming as well as text-based programming.
So BB-8, that's the droid from Star Wars. Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
So they had a really amazing holiday season. They had a great partnership, and because of their design of their robot, and how easy it is to use and how programmable it is, they had a great partnership with Disney, which was another wonderful thing for Workbench.
Now, the BB-8 actually has, it looks like it's actually it's the sphere, and then it's got the little head, which seems to somehow levitate at the top of it without spinning around and around and around.
It is. It's magic. It's yeah. No, it's a really great it's a really great implementation of what you see in the Star Wars movie. I mean, their products, the head stays on, it rotates, it speaks. It's a really cool toy, and we're actually seeing schools and hobby clubs buy that for their programming robot too. In addition to the Spark Plus and the Ollie.
Now there are a number of other, I guess, we call them little robot creations that are appearing out there. Do you are all of them, I guess, candidates to do what you're doing within Workbench, or are some of them, kind of a closed system and they're really not interested in creating a working project? I'm just trying to think. There's one that just recently came out. I just saw. It's oh gosh. I thought I had the link to two, but it's like a little robot, and it has a little face on it. It's
Johnny Five.
No, it looks like Johnny Five, but it's not. I'll find it during the show. But anyway, do you work with other companies? I mean,
oh yeah. So we work with drone companies. We work with Arduino board companies. So any company where you can take an item and teach with it, and in our opinion, you can give me a fork and some binding wire, and we can create projects with it. But the cool thing about this makerspace now and these more advanced products is it just gives you more things to do. So now I can do humanities projects and science projects and teach coding all on the same platform. There's lots of different people who have come at it different ways. What we do is give them a branded experience. So if you go to activities.parrot.com or spark.sphero.com, all of those learning communities are actually built on the Workbench platform. So if you've got a product where you can teach with it. I mean, we could teach college classes with the Nest thermostat program.
Thermostat, really?
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of the platform that we built. So it's interactive learning. It's something that's portable. If you've got a way to do something, benchmark it, and then share, because a big part of these products is the sharing. Look what I did with this, and that's part of our platform. You have these step-based things, step 1, step 2, step 3, watch a video, answer some questions, and then also the ability to put up, hey, look what I did with this, and then that becomes a really great way for people who are starting to build affinity and prowess in this whatever platform, whatever hardware platform that they're working on, to say, look what I did, you can do this too, here's how I did it, and it grows and grows and grows.
Right. By the way, the thing's called the COZMO, the Cosmo, by a company called Anki, a little tiny robot. I don't know if you've seen it. But,
oh, it's great. It's great.
You are familiar with it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's coming out in October. It's not here yet. But so you take things that are, I mean, obviously the Sphero was a complete robot in a little box. You didn't have to do anything, but yet here you are working with them. I mean, are many of your Workbench products like that, or are they?
I mean, to twist that question a little bit, do you see, because I guess I received, like one of the first robotics I received was Robo Sapien, I think was the name of the toy.
Yeah.
And you know, it had a few commands that you could do on a remote, but I mean, just kind of going forward and looking at the robotic toy industry, do you see that there's kind of an interest by the toy maker themselves to make their toys programmable and kind of work with you? And you know, is that just more interesting for them, or are things kind of going to be split half and half?
Oh, I think it's going to be more interesting for them. I mean, you've got plenty of products. So you've got robots that are programmable that don't have a big construction component to it, and they have their place, and you can do lots of things with them. And then there's robots that are partially construction based, and you can do other things with them. You can program with them, and potentially you can extend them. They both have their fit in the project-based learning world. So I think that if the question is, do you think that consumer product companies are going to want to try to extend into the education space with content? I think the answer is definitely yes. We want to. They're going to, even if they're not going after the education market, having great content to extend the value of their product is the right thing to do, and we love to help with that. I mean, if you've got a weekend grandparent who spent some money on a product and they want to do some cool things with it, it doesn't necessarily have to be a programmable robot, but it'd be great if there was a community wrapped around it so that over time, more and more and more, they can do different things and even get inbound emails about, hey, here's another project that you can do with this laser set or this chemistry set or this robot or this drone.
Right. And we're going to get into some of the projects because you have all kinds of and they're not all robot or technology projects or workbenches. Like, you call the projects workbenches, or do you call them projects? How do you?
They're projects. So the workbench is the place where you go put things on there, and that's
okay. So you have all these, and you have trending, and you have featured ones, and I encourage all of our listeners to go out there and actually check them out. But they're not all technology. I mean, you have like backyard bees. I mean, you have things that are gardening.
It's more about the project than the technology. As I said, the reason we have so many technology companies is they're enabling more projects, and there's more things that they can extend into. But we have a great customer we'll be launching with that teaches with outdoor classrooms, and we're the platform that helps them teach with outdoor classrooms as well.
Wow. And these are all, and again, I want to go to some of these different projects that you offer, because they're extremely varied and widely diverse. Is really, I mean, you even have everything from do-it-yourself DNA to exploring insect life cycles. I mean, you have, it looks to me like you have projects that take you off the workbench and take you out into the backyard or something.
Exactly. It's some things you're shooting a rocket in the backyard. Sometimes you're trying to collect different bits and pieces from the backyard and figuring out how an ecosystem works, and then taking pictures of it and sharing it. That's part of projects that you do in the when you're working on the workbench. So if you're at say you've just completed some instruction on how to build a small ecosystem on a piece of bark. And at the very end, almost always, we ask you, okay, now you do it. You show us something that you've done. Take a video or take a picture of a project that you kind of take what you've just learned here and extend. And that's just as applicable if you programmed a robot to do, I don't know, the ding dong dash at the school, and the robot goes down the hallway, knocks on the door, and runs away. That's a lot of math. That's a lot of programming. Show us what you did.
Right. Now, how do you choose these different projects for the workbench? I mean, obviously is there some sort of a committee that says, okay, this is good or this is not good, or we're going to try this or we're not going to try? I mean, how does the project come
like how is this, how's Workbench not just flooded with, here's how to make a volcano, and it's just 10,000 volcano projects?
So we do have some moderation that comes into play. We have some instructional designers that take a look at the content that can get posted. Some of the content is also content that we've already posted on our customer sites. So if there's projects that Parrot is on there on Parrot activities and Parrot education, that'll also come to our aggregate site. Some of the projects from the Lightning Lab come to the aggregate site. But if other people post content, the instructional design team takes a look at it and says, hey, this is something that's that's fantastic, or sometimes we'll pitch it back and say, hey, this is a really great idea. And most of it is pretty high quality when it comes through. There's a lot of teachers and a lot of just great makers that are that want to share the things that they've done. So we don't get too redundant, because people do a little bit of search, it seems, before they come on board, and the quality is really good.
So let's talk about teachers for a moment. You mentioned them. I mean, what do teachers get out of these? Because these are online communities, right? And what do teachers get out of it?
So if you're a teacher and you're using one of our partner sites or even the Workbench site, you're always and my mom was a teacher for 35 years. My sister's a teacher, and we have a bunch of teachers in the company as well. Right now, they're not looking for huge lesson plan type projects with maker projects. They're looking for these snack size 25 to 45 minute projects that are in support of what they're trying to teach. So this week I'm trying to teach vectors, or this week I'm trying to teach the primary colors, or this week I'm trying to teach what cubism is in my art class. Is there something that I could pull from the Workbench or from the Lightning Lab that would help me teach this exercise? And very likely they can find something, whether it's photography or history or anything like that.
Wow. Yeah. No. I'm looking at some of them here. They look really. So you can actually go on there. You can see it like a gallery of them, and you can see what ones are available. And you click on it, and what am I going to see when I go to your website and I start looking at some of these Workbench projects?
So some of them, and if you look in the gallery, they're basically just snapshots. They're either a video or a picture of something that somebody has done that they think is cool, that they want to share. It's something that's probably a little bit educational and a little bit fun that they did with one of the projects that we did. And then if you go to the project search area, that's where you have the actual things that you can do, where it walks you through one of those exercises where you're learning something about using a product or using a combination of wires and things, and then also learning about art or about architecture or about engineering at the same time. So there's two kinds of content. There's the gallery content and the projects content.
And what would you say is kind of and of course this platform is obviously still developing, but you can't exactly go into the second grade classroom and go, today we're doing astrophysics, so kids buckle up. What would you say is kind of the age range that you find the teachers are most engaging this kind of learning with? Is it younger grade schoolers, or is it all the way through high school to college?
Oh, it's all the way through university level. It all depends on the centerpiece of the project. So if you're doing an Arduino board project, you could do something as simple as press this button to make this light come on. And that's at a third grade level. There's some robots where you do coding by writing colors on a piece of paper. You can do that coding in kindergarten. Or there's some programs where you're mapping the outside of a physical plant with a drone and recording the first video that you did, and then using code to look at the difference between yesterday's film and today's film, because that becomes a real-world education experience. So it's really all about the age range is really around the type of project. And in our search and our filter, you can pick, I want to see something that works K through third grade. I want to see something that's 10th grade through 12th grade. And you can see all of that. You can see how things work in the in even mapping with some of the standards that are applied in the states, the Next Generation Science Standards or the Common Core.
Mm.
Yeah, you even have Easy Robot, who were on the show. I want to say about 5 months ago. Yeah, they make like they have a couple different robots. I don't know if they came out with their next one yet, but yeah, that they're right up your guys' alley. You guys really did seem to reach out to a lot of similar companies in the area, or at least in the field.
Yeah, they're a great company. We in this one of the exercises, it's a great example where we're teaching how to construct a robot, how to program a robot, but the real project is all about music theory and what for lack of a better term, sloppy drumming is, where you're where you're drumming kind of one beat off of the main beat, kind of like what Ringo Starr drummed like, or Meg Smith from the White Stripes.
Listen, Chris, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to continue on, okay? Yeah, this is really interesting. When we come back, we get into some of the actual projects themselves. And but right now, we're going to take a break. This is the Computer America Show, 347-884-8881. A brand spanking new news tips full review from Marty Winston coming up as well. We'll be right back with Workbench. This is Computer America.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Hot. I saw a dog steam clean a hydrant. Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Micro Semi PD104 GOAC Outdoor PoE switch. PoE, that's Power over Ethernet. This is built like military gear with a solid vent-free metal case and protective nipples over its 4 RJ45 PoE ports and its SFP upstream port. It's got a grounded power plug, ground wire, and those ports, and that's all that reach through the box. There's no fan. There's lots of anti-surge protection, a package that refuses to let in the weather. We can easily interface PoE surveillance cameras and maybe a wireless access point through this invisibly and inaudibly. So bottom line, the Micro Semi PD104 GOAC Outdoor PoE switch gives us powered gigabit Ethernet where other switches wouldn't survive. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 30 minutes past the hour. As we are continuing on, we have Mr. Chris Sleet. He's the founder and CEO of Workbench. Please tune into the video portion because we're going to be showing a lot of these projects. A lot of them come with very, very neat videos to go along with it.
Yeah.
So, and I guess one thing that we haven't really touched on, and we'll get back to some of the other questions, but you mentioned that some of these projects are kind of submitted by submitted by teachers, submitted by the community. So, and because some of them are teachers, there's going to be some level of quality in there. What is the general guideline for submitting a guide? Is it going to be something that you print out and it's step-by-step instructions? Is it a video on YouTube that shows you how to do it? What do you kind of recommend people kind of submit for how-tos when you do a project?
So the best received projects and lessons that we get have a component of it's really good planning is the best thing. So you want to have a bit of video if you can kind of show what the project is going to do. Typically when we see the best content, it's got an opening video, and it can be shot with a mobile phone. It doesn't have to be super. This is what this project is going to do, and it lays it out without giving too much information. Maybe it's in support of the supplies that you might need for the project, and then it goes in and it step by step, very simple language. Do this and expect this kind of result. Do this and expect this kind of result. And partway through it, having some level of assessment or benchmarking. What did you see? Or have the ability to have multiple choice questions, or even fill in the blank, or even, hey, take a picture of where you are now, so that they can stop and say, this is where I am. So you've got a lead-in video, some simple steps, and then a project. Okay, now you've gotten some of these things. Now here's what we did, and show them an implementation of the project, just one version of it. Take them through a few more steps, and then turn the tables on the subject and say, okay, now we create a mechanical hand. Do you think that you can create an arm that works like a lever to open a window? Or something like that. Give them kind of an open-ended instructions to implement, or take what you've taught them and use it. And really, from a nerdy education, if they can do it, then they get a lot more retention. So they will actually remember they did a project. So their memory of all the concepts that they've learned up to that point is greatly increased off of that. Plus, they've demonstrated that they got the concept. So you've literally given them a test that they didn't have to write anything about.
Exactly. So
yeah, just pulling one out of the pile, and yes, there are quite a few. This whole Lego hand showing how muscles work, things like that, very educational. But at the same time, what kid doesn't like to play with Legos? So it's
Exactly.
Definitely mixing that information, but stuff that they were probably going to do anyways.
Well, Chris, let me ask you this. I mean, we were looking at the Legos, really good, but why don't you tell our listeners what do you think are some the more popular projects shared in the communities that you offer? Whoops.
So
Okay.
some of the more popular lessons can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you fine. Yeah,
We're good.
Yeah. Well,
This one. Oh, I'm sorry. I heard whoops, so I stopped. So the more popular activities usually have something to do with a combination of a little bit of programming and a little bit of robotics. So the sphere popular, and doing the maze, also teaching kids how to make a ball be more efficient in the water. One of the cool things about the Sphero product is it's waterproof, so that you can actually even program it and attach things to it and make it drive through the water more effectively. Some of the Lego projects that we've got in there, you show the mechanical hand. The balloon car project is incredibly popular as well, where you learn a little bit of friction, but you also build a car and it should cross your backyard.
Chris?
Or you're making the simple bristle bot is a great way to kind of learn what is a robot.
Chris, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you don't mind, is I think I'm going to have you turn off your video streaming and just turn your camera off at the top there, because you are breaking up. I don't know if you're sharing bandwidth. Somebody's doing something at your location, and it's just really slowing things down. So I think that'll help. And maybe if you can motion to some, because we're hearing some people talk in the background, and it's really distracting. If you could wave them off, we'd appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay, so continue on, please.
So and I'm sorry, I'm in a very large makerspace. Even the stuff that's outside of our offices kind of echoes in. So we talked a little bit about this this BristleBot project that you got up there.
I saw that and I was like,
yeah,
there's a battery attached to a toothbrush. I don't think you're supposed to stick it in your mouth. So what is this? Yeah.
So it's really you get to do a cool, fun project with some really rudimentary pieces of equipment that give you, at the end of it, this little racer. But what the project teaches is that's not really a robot. It's not a robot until it has sensors and can react and do things based off of input. So part of it is you get to do this thing, and then by exception, it teaches you, okay, now what would be next to actually make this fun project turn into what is the classic definition of a robot?
I'm watching the video. I feel like reaching for a fly swatter. I mean,
very tiny little project, but very cool.
Or a can of Raid. But yeah, but it looks.
And I really like the fact that I don't know how much one of those flat batteries cost. Probably a dime if they cost that. An old toothbrush who doesn't have one of those lying around. I mean, these DIY projects, I'm not, well, I don't think you're actually building a merry-go-round here, but, a lot of these projects, it's not like, well, you're going to need a Hemi and you're going to need about $3,000 capital, so, start hitting up your family. Like, yeah, of course, you have things like, for drones, which are, can be pretty expensive, but there seems to be a lot of things for a lot of different price points.
There are. I mean, there's things that you can do a project with something that's sitting around your house, or if you've already, and a lot of this is, hey, if you've already made the investment in a Sphero or a Parrot drone, or even an Arduino board from SparkFun, there's lots of people that have done that. Let's extend it. Let's make that more valuable and learn and do more fun things with it by looking it up on their sites or on the Workbench itself. That's one of the cool things. You can start with something you may already own, or something you've got around the house, or it may help you say, hey, which one of these things that I was thinking about getting for myself or for my grandchild or for my son or daughter has the coolest content.
What kind of person do you look for at Workbench? I mean, you have a staff there. We can certainly hear them, and what are you looking for? I mean, are you looking for people who are creative or marketing, or who can? I mean, tell us a little about what makes a good Workbench employee.
Almost every single one of our employees has the core capabilities that you need. If you have an instructional designer, they need to have experience in instructional design. But our lead instructional designer was also, an inner city Baltimore school teacher who was the robot coach of the year in Baltimore City. We have a software developer who races drones and has done a 300-mile unicycle race. Many of us play musical instruments and kind of have to have that gamer mindset, but like to do things in the physical world a lot. I can make something, I can do something with these things. We have people who race sailboats and in the team as well. So it's a really cool group of not just hardcore education practitioners, but there's some pretty interesting extras that come along with every single one of our team members.
Okay. So
and one feature that obviously I haven't signed up yet, but there's one feature called Dashboard that that is on the Workbench website. What is the dashboard? Is that just keeping track of the projects that you've done or are doing? I mean, yeah.
So when you log in and join the Workbench, you get a feed of the things that are going on in the Workbench community. So what's new, what's trending. If you've posted content, you get feedback on whoever has maybe liked or favorited your content, maybe commented on it. You also, if you're running a club or a classroom, the dashboard also tells you about your class. So if one of your students has started a project that you assigned to them, because a portion of the Workbench also enables a classroom and enables a club so that a teacher can assign lessons and look at the progress of those lessons and provide feedback along the way too. That's another value to the partners that work with us. They can actually give something where it really helps the teacher teach by managing that classroom. So in the dashboard, when you've signed up and potentially a student has completed a lesson, that gets added to your dashboard feed, which looks similar to a Twitter feed just rolling on. Here's an event that happened. Somebody liked your one of your lessons. Joe completed your lesson. Susan started your lesson. These three new projects are now trending because more people are opening them and doing them. Kind of give you that kind of information.
Now,
Very cool.
now, is there cost involved? I mean, how does someone join? Do you have to subscribe? I mean, what's the model that the business model? Yeah.
So you can see, for us, we get hired by the hardware companies to make their products more accessible. So we get hired by them to provide a way for folks to get access to their content. But for a teacher or for an individual user, they don't pay anything, and they can use the projects without even logging in. So everything that's on the Workbench, you can access through that search and projects and gallery setting without even logging in. But if you want to have a memory, if you want to know which ones you favorited, or if you want to create your own content, you have to just sign up. Use a username and password. You can sign up with Facebook. If you're a school, you can use one of our partner products called Clever, which is a single sign-on tool that's used by schools that makes it easy for the IT departments to onboard new IT products in a school district. If you're under the age of 13, you have to get permission from your parents to post content, but you can sign up and use the lessons no matter what age you are.
Now, can people, let's say, take one of these projects and then modify it or custom or improve it, which is certainly possible, and then turn around and say, "Oh, I've changed this," or can I put this on, or
what is the bare minimum before you create a new project? Because you can't just take, like, let's say, create your own DNA, and then step number 13 is spray it with glue, and I added glitter. Now it's awesome.
Well, I mean, that's the concept of a remix, though. Anyway, so you have the ability to create a copy to use internally. So if you wanted to, if you saw some content up on the Workbench that then you modified to use for your own use and you don't republish it, that's fine. And then if you go to publish it, then it goes through our moderation process along the way. And if it's been significantly modified, that's great. It becomes kind of something new and useful. And if not, we may make some recommendations so that it is that different.
Or you seek out the approval of the company of the people who originally designed the project.
Yeah. I mean, most of the product companies are really incentivized to let people just go nuts with their product. So if somebody has a different take on something that they've already done, it's just good for them, for more people to get access and to share more good ideas. So there's really not an issue too much with them putting up their content. Now, obviously, you want it to be accurate and effective. So you take a look at it to make sure those two bars are met.
Right. I mean, but let's say I take a project and I'm using Spiro, and I come up with a new product, and I say, I'm going to take. I'm going to buy 12 spheros. I'm going to make a clock out of it, and so that I have an actual clock made of spheros. I mean, obviously the Sphero must be happy because you just bought a dozen Spheros for your project, and everybody else who wants to do that is going to have to buy a dozen of them. I mean, is it lucrative in that way? I mean, does it make sense for the companies to encourage this type of thing?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, it's not just about the buying the extra spheros. It's just making it stay relevant and useful. So the more things that people have to do with it, obviously, the more people are going to want to buy the product, use it, share it, show their expertise. I mean, a lot of the most successful construction toy companies, Lego's a great example of that. Part of it is just showing off your mastery. Look how good I'm getting at doing this. Same thing with a robot, or even a great breadboard where you're showing your expertise in creating your own computer out of it. A lot of the SparkFun products are like that. If you go to invent.sparkfun.com, one of our platforms has this really great open sourced hardware component, and what lots of people like to do is take that initial project and then say, well, look what I did. Here's how I extended it, and this is the cool thing I made with it, and that's really good for the companies.
Oh yeah, I just want to go on record that the idea of the Sphero clock is mine. So if anybody thinks
absolutely, Sphero clock, 349 Eastern was mentioned.
Let's see, and of course, 12 Spheros. I think they're like $79 a pop. So. Yeah, about $1,000. So yeah, Craig, that's all yours.
Okay.
So yeah, and we've been covering kind of DIY maker, this kind of thing for a while now. We have a Linux show that people are super amped up about, these little these Arduino and Raspberry Pi, because Linux distributions, people put those on those things all day long. So I mean, kind of going, next 5-10 years, we've seen that just over the past couple years that stuff like this. Yes, you guys are obviously there's a lot of projects obviously targeting kids. There is some stuff for college age stuff, but we've also seen over the past couple years, at least here on the show, people are doing it to make timers for their pool pumps while they're on vacation. They're doing it for geofencing and just kind of making things turn on and off automatically as you leave or enter an area. There's a lot of people who are using, kind of inventing their own things that make their lives easier, regardless if you're a fifth grader or 45 or 60 or 80. In the next 5-10 years, do you see this? Do you see yourself kind of focusing on teaching kids to do this, so they'll do it, later in life, or do you see this expanding to an even broader audience?
That's why I kind of made that example of the Nest and products like that. I mean, we see ourselves as a community building platform for regardless of whether it's K through university or for that 45-year-old that wants to put a timer on their pool pump. There's going to be basic things to do. So there's always going to be that tutorial. Here's how you use this thing to do this, the core thing with it, and then from the company again, they'll be able to say, hey, and here's 20 things you can do that's a little bit different than we intended, but are really cool. And then the third bit will be, show us your hacks, show us your cool things that you did. You put a temperature sensor on your engine block that's separate from the one that's in your car, so that you can do diagnosis while you're actually driving that's different from what you wanted to do. Show us those things too. I mean, that kind of community in a box, that's where Workbench is going to extend out into the IoT community over the years. So we'll have a great education offering, but that same concept of teaching core lessons in a very moderated way, and then showing the extensions of that, and then even taking that picture of the pool pump, that gets triggered whenever the possum walks across the backyard.
So and of course that you kind of put it right in there. That's where you see Workbench, project-based learning is centered in there as kind of the forum that all this sharing and all this learning kind of happens all in one place. That's where you guys see yourself in all this?
Yeah, so we see ourselves as having the Workbench, our aggregate site, which kind of pulls together all of our partners, and then we'll still build these custom workbenches for each one of our partners as well. So they get this branded view of this same community, so that people who are just interested in the Raspberry Pi or the products at SparkFun or the Laser Classroom or Parrot Education, they can go there and they see just their world in that branded view. So that's always going to happen, and even in the IoT products that I was talking about. And then there's going to be the aggregate, which is the Workbench. It's our general site that pulls together all of our partners into one space.
Exactly. All right. So I know are you focusing on STEM? I know that's one of the big things that it's bringing was it females into
Well, less female, but STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. But a lot of companies are focusing on, and I don't know. I guess, and Craig said, we've had companies like Intel on lately, and a bunch of different organizations. They're trying to get more women in STEM. So I guess that's where Craig kind of drew the analysis. But yeah, like Craig was about to say, how are you trying to encourage younger kids or people who are going to use Workbench to get involved, because really these kind of projects, yes, they can be done in school, but as you've outlined, a lot of them can be done in the kids' free time, and just as an enjoyable project to do. So how are you kind of seeing yourself push kids into STEM as a career and not just something to fiddle around with?
Well, I think one of the cool things that we see is a lot of these what seem like robots club and toys are the next generation of blue collar, white collar, sole proprietor type businesses. Programming a drone to fly around your farmer's field and take pictures of where there's blight or drought, that's a job. That's somebody who can actually fly a drone well or program a drone well. That's not just that's not somebody's hobby. That's a real applicable job. If you can take an Arduino board and program it yourself to do to have novel approaches to HVAC, that's a job. And you've got kids that will be coming out now and saying, yeah, I did that when I was 13, and I can start my own business that wraps around a plumbing company or an HVAC company or even a survey company that takes all of these skills that they learn. This Workbench, it's not like shop class that I took. This is the new shop class that becomes applicable and gives them learning skills that whether they want to take it and roll it into the double E that they get when they go to college, or whether they just want to start a new business. That's the thing that we want to get in their hands, so that they can say to a potential investor or a potential employer, yeah, I did that. I've been doing that for 5 years, and I know I'm only 18. But I can fly this thing, program this thing, make this thing spin as good as anybody who's just come out of any other technical school. But I just went to high school.
Yeah.
I'll have you know that my shop class, we made birdhouses. I put up that on every resume I've ever had. No interest, but I've done it. So I can see how this could replace shop class as.
Well, our Workbench is Tony Stark's Workbench or Peter Parker's Workbench.
That's fine.
Or Ray from Star Wars' Workbench.
Exactly. Well, the Workbench is moving into the 21st century, and you're certainly helping to do it. Listen, we're just pretty much out of time here. Chris, again, I want to thank you for being here on the show. Again, the website is Workbench Platform, all one word, workbenchplatform.com, or you can head over to computeramerica.com. We have it up there on our homepage right on the website, and it'll be up there all week. And then it moves to our archive section, so you can always find it located at computeramerica.com. Chris, so I want to thank you for letting our listeners know about this really cool endeavor that you've ventured forth on, and I think a lot of people are going to benefit from it. It looks like a win-win situation for everybody.
Well, thank you all very much.
Yeah, and listen, you take care. Have a great day. Thanks again for being here on Computer America.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
Take care. Bye bye. All right, there you go. Again, it's Workbench, and the website is workbenchplatform.com, and you can check it out, www. And you can see all the different projects there. You can join, you can interact. It really looks like something that I think anybody would be interested, student or just someone, hobbyist. They have a lot of things, and it's just not technology. I mean, it has they have all kinds of projects there. So definitely something that's worthwhile checking out. Again, workbenchplatform.com. All right, coming up in the next hour, what do we got? We've got some
Computer and technology news.
Yeah, we do. We have some interesting stories too. One story about, I don't know if a lot of you have gotten the card, your credit card with the chip on it, and
that annoying thing.
Yeah, that annoying thing, and why it's this transition in the United States is proving to be, I don't want to use the word disaster, but that's the word that they're using. So I'm going to talk about that as well. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about Google SmithKline and GlaxoSmithKline and Google. They want to rewire your body to treat chronic conditions. And Russia's in the news, claiming it can collect encryption keys. Wow,
Of course.
Yeah,
that's it's a bold claim because they've been working on the problem for 2 weeks, and it's something that people have been trying to do for years. So,
all right, well, we got those stories and more. We'll talk a little bit about one of the new TV shows that I'm enjoying too. We're going to just break just for a quick moment. We're back with hour 2 of the Computer America Show.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show about computers and technology. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And again, we just finished with Workbench. We had the founder and CEO, Chris Sleet, with us on for the entire hour. If you missed any portion of it, we and certainly invite you to listen to the show again. We archive all of our shows at ComputerAmerica.com. Just head over to our website. On any page there, the menu bar, it says Archives. All you have to do is click on that, and it'll take you to our Archives page. All the different places you can listen to archives of the show at the Blog Talk Radio Network, Apple's iTunes, Stitcher, all the different places that carry the show, as well as also places you can listen to the show, like the IRN Radio Network and the TuneIn Radio Network. We invite all of you to go to ComputerAmerica.com. Now, before we get to everything, I did get an email and from a listener, and basically he asked a question about the archives, and he said he was having some difficulty with it, and I just want to find the email. Here it is. Okay, this is from he doesn't identify himself by name, but that's fine. He says,
"Hi." The artist formerly known as listener. Go ahead.
He says, "Hi, Craig and Ben."
Thank you. I think you just threw that in there yourself, but whatever. With
the recent revision to your webpage, I am no longer. I don't know what revision, because we haven't done it yet. He thinks we have.
He means the one from last year.
Yeah. I am no longer able to download and save audio from the show archives. So basically he says no, this is not the one. This was a different one.
Yeah. Didn't we already cover this one?
I did cover this one. I have another one here. Hold on.
Right. The answer to that one, forever, who didn't pay attention last time we read that one, it was just go to Blog Talk Radio and the little cloud with the down arrow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is it. Here's the one. This one's from Dave. Okay. And he has a question. He says the podcast from the July 28th, 2016 show, and specifically that show was with our guest.
Nate Evans, right?
No,
No,
Picture
not
Keeper.
Evans.
Picture Keeper.
Picture
Picture Keeper. Yeah, it was on the 28th. He says that particular show is not downloading into iTunes. Is it because the length says it's 2 hours and 1 minute, while all the other shows, others only show 2 hours? And that's his question. And that's not the case. But
Oh no, we actually did cover this. You actually read this on the air, I think, on Friday.
Did I?
Yeah, I believe so. And I think the answer was that was the day that folks, if I don't know how many of you, kind of like, at the very end of an episode, if you flip the channel or you turn off the television, when the credits start rolling. But in essentially our credit rolling sequence, I think that was the day that at the very end, we do this thing where Craig says, hope your hard drive never gets floppy, and then everyone laughs, and then we, kind of go out. I think that was the day that you're like, that you were like, Block Talk Radio isn't signing off.
No, Kimasami, that's what it was. That may have caused it.
And I think that's what added the extra minute.
Well, all right. Well, that may be true, but that doesn't seem to be the problem. I contacted Blog Talk Radio Network, the customer service, because we thought somehow that the archive file of July 28th had somehow become corrupted, and that it had to be stored to the network before iTunes could retrieve it. That would be the normal thing, but that evidently is not the case, because when I go into I have a privilege to, the account. I go into the account and I call up that particular episode and I click on play, I can hear it. But when you go to the regular user level of it, for some reason it says, oops, I'm sorry, but there's a problem. So I contacted the customer service at Blog Talk Radio, spoke to one of the people there, and they told me that evidently they are experiencing intermittent downloading problems with different shows, and they're not sure why it's happening. So my first reaction was, I have audio of the show. I have it from another source. So I actually have backup copies of the audio. And I said, could I just upload that, and then would that correct itself? And again, I think I answered my own question, because when I said that, the very fact that I can download it from the account itself as a user, as an owner of the account, means that they still have it, but some other mechanism is broken for that one episode. I may go ahead and try to re-upload again, but I don't think it's going to fix it. But I'm going to try that after the show to see if it'll work. But right now, the July 28th show is not available, at least not from Blog Talk Radio. So, or Apple's iTunes, because Apple iTunes gets the audio from the RSS feed from Blog Talk Radio. So, for now, the July 28th show is not available. I'm going to stay on top of it. It is a very good show, and I do want to get up to it. So I think after the program, I'll try re-uploading it and see if that corrects the problem. If not, then we just have to wait until Blog Talk Radio. We've opened up a ticket on it. We'll see if we can find out what's going on there. All the other archives, though, work perfectly. Just that one. So go figure. Yeah.
I would not doubt if it had something to do with that little lag that we got at the very end of the show.
Well, I've edited that out, okay, and so what I will do is I think what I'll do, it doesn't hurt, so I'll try to upload it, and it's exactly the 2 hours long without that little extra thing on the end, and I'll go ahead and see if that corrects the problem.
Well, I'm just saying that if we get that again at the very end, we might want to make double sure that that doesn't happen again. So.
Yeah, absolutely, it will.
Right.
If that is what's happening.
Again, it's tech support. It's not the most straightforward thing. It's especially intermittent things like that not even Blog Talk Radio knows what's going on. Yeah. So, but Dave, thank you for the email.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Thanks again, and please continue to listen. All the other archives are there, and everything is working fine. And hopefully today's archive will work fine as well. Okay, but you're right. I think that was the one where I couldn't get it to end, and maybe that caused the problem. That's a good point. Okay. So maybe re-uploading it properly, but then again, if that happened, why does it play in the when you go into the account, when you go into the actual account, when you go into it, it does play. So
what a mystery.
Out of the mystery. All right. So the other thing I wanted to mention was I'm watching a new TV show, which I'm actually enjoying. It's called Brain Dead, and it's on. You can see it at CBS.com. The episodes are there, and I've been watching it. I think it's in its 6th episode. And at first, it was okay, but it's gotten really intriguing. It's actually quite good. And
is it on Netflix or?
Right now, it's only on CBS.com. It's free access. Anybody can get it. anybody can go to CBS.com and watch it. It's up. It's called Brain Dead, and it comes on Sunday nights. So it's a Sunday night show, but it stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's she's very good. She was in the that movie that I just saw recently. I told Nate Evans I saw the movie.
Deadpool.
No, the other one, 21 something.
21 Jump Street.
Oh, anyway, she was also starred in the new remake of The Thing. She starred in The Thing. That's when I first saw her, and then the movie with John Goodman.
Oh, you're talking about Clover Street.
Yeah, Clover Street. She stars in that. She's the female co-star in that with John Goodman. I've only seen her in a couple things, and now she's in this Brain Dead, and I think it's actually well thought out. It's very good, and I highly recommend that you watch it. And if you don't get it on TV, you certainly can get it on CBS.com. You can see it there. All right. Just briefly, just a quick synopsis. It's about space insects. When I'm telling you, it's going to sound really bizarre.
Yeah, no, it's already sounding bizarre.
It's insects from outer space that go when people are sleeping, what have you. They go into their ear and eat their brains, and they take over their body. And it sounds really
so it's like an alien earwig.
Yeah, it sounds like that, but it's not. It's actually quite clever, and it's extremely well done. So.
Is it a comedy, drama, horror?
Yes, it's horror, comedy, and drama. It's all three rolled into one. It has all those elements, and I think it's one of the reasons that makes it very entertaining. So again, called Brain Dead, Sunday night CBS or at CBS.com.
Well, I mean, if you get to mention one, then I will say I just finished up. One of mine that had been on the list for the longest time was a show that I had seen on my Netflix queue, and I was like, I'll watch it one day eventually, and and it turned into I'll watch it now, even though it's been about 2 years, actually 3 years. So the show, Craig, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's called BoJack Horseman.
No, I've heard of it, but have not seen it.
You're right. It's very, very popular on Netflix, and it's an animated show, and it's kind of a melodrama comedy kind of thing, but with but it's animated with characters and things like that, animated animals. So so kind of going through like the world, and and you have like cat people, fish people, rabbit people, that kind of thing. But it's much darker than I thought it was going to be.
Really,
much darker. It does a lot with depression, a lot with drug addiction, a lot with
your typical cartoon.
Right, but it has been one of the highest rated original series from Netflix. And Netflix has a lot of good stuff.
Yes, it does.
So this is they just finished the 3rd season, and again, I love that Netflix does this. They greenlight shows by seasons. So it's not like you get 3 episodes in and the ratings suck and they just pull the whole thing.
Right.
No, they they record the entire season and then they dump it all at one time, and they just let it be. So they just released season 3, and I just finished watching it, and for avoiding it for like 2 to 3 years and finally sitting down and watching it, I really did enjoy it. It was very, very well done.
Excellent.
And again, darker than your average cartoon television show. So don't think about you're going to take the kids and sit down and watch BoJack Horseman. It's not for kids under 13.
Is it rated PG-13?
I don't know. I never looked at the rating because I'm hey, I'm an adult, so I can watch it whatever the heck I want. But no, there is profanity, there is lewd scenes, there are a variety of things that just aren't suitable for young audiences. But as a show itself, it's one of the best ones I've seen from Netflix.
Okay, and as you mentioned, they have a lot of good programming.
They do have a lot of good stuff.
Especially when you can binge watch things, because right now I'm watching a couple of shows on Netflix.
Imagine if you could watch Brain Dead, but instead of having to tune in Sunday night, you could just watch the whole season whenever you had time.
Yeah, that would be nice, but you're right. Now you have to do it an episode at a time, and just kind of have to wait. But
it's the worst.
It is the worst. You kind of wait. and I don't. They have all 6 episodes, I believe, up. I know they have always have the latest episode. I think they have the earlier episodes, and I'm fairly sure they do. So
yeah, I'm sure they do.
yeah, they do. Okay. Of course, on CBS.com, you have to watch commercials. And
Dun, dun, dun.
yeah, yeah, and you.
Oh man, I saw a Reddit post, actually, of all things, the
Mhm.
other day, and it was I guess ABC Family
Mhm.
recently rebranded itself to, I believe, Freeform. I don't have, again, don't have cable, so I don't know for sure, but I believe it's the station is called Freeform now, and they did a weekend Harry Potter marathon.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, no, sounds great, but someone someone timed how many commercials there were to actual movie time,
Oh no.
and they recorded about 6 minutes of advertising for 7 minutes of actual movie.
Oh, it was just permeated with commercials.
That would drag out a 2-hour movie to a 4-hour sequence, and you're watching, and if you've ever seen TV advertising, every single commercial break, you essentially get the same commercial over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's not like they have, 15 different commercials all for, let's say, Febreze. No, they just play that one Febreze commercial. So, traditional cable, you can start to see where they're starting to feel the pinch of streaming services and, services such as Netflix or Amazon Prime or what have you, that they're definitely trying to increase the amount of eyeballs that are seeing the ads and how often the ads are being shown, so that the value proposition is still there at the expense of the viewing experience.
Well, yeah, the thing is, for example, with CBS.com, if you try to skip ahead to the show, and you can see little tick marks.
I like that you said if you try to. We know that you've tried every single time.
And you can. They let you skip over it because there were some parts that I skip over. But if you skip over, let's say 3 commercial segments, and you're into that next segment, guess what? You don't have to watch one. You have to watch all 3 commercial segments back to back before you can go. That they make you do it. That's what they do. So that's how it works. Okay. Well, anyway, we're ready to do we got a lot of great computer news stories. And anything else before we get started?
No,
I know.
What's that?
Whatever happened to July?
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness we were able to get that joke in.
You almost got away with it. No.
Oh man.
It's August. Good grief. Boy.
August 1st. So
yeah, exactly. All right. Well, here we go.
To me, this just means that summer's almost over.
Yeah. I didn't do that right. I really should have done it with a nice sound effect and say, and I should have gone, Ben. And you're going, what? What happened to July?
You're really getting your mileage out of that new sound.
All right, let's do some computer news. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. Check them out at slimwareutilities.com. You'll be very glad you did, and you'll really thank us for it. slimwareutilities.com.
All right. So, folks, please join us on the video portion now, because we will be showing the articles and things like that. You can read along, you can follow along, you can see the publications that they come from, because a lot of these websites do a lot of good work.
I know what I forgot. I forgot to mention.
What did you forget to mention?
I forgot to mention that guess what you can no longer get for free?
Like a lot of things came to mind, but I'm not going to say any of them. What can you no longer get, Craig?
Windows 10.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The Windows 10. That's right. No longer for free. If you want Windows 10 now, guess what? You're going to have to pay for it. Okay. So
but of course, that's not something Microsoft was really excited about. It's not because honestly, it's not like, oh, now we start making money off of Windows 10. It's more like, wow, we couldn't even get these people to switch over for free, and now we have to charge them $80 a pop. Like, it's not exactly going to be, oh, now I have to pay for it. Now I'm definitely going to switch over. So the adoption rate is going to slow down immensely, and that's something that Microsoft was not looking forward to. But 350 million devices. That's something. It's short of their projection where they should be for their 1 billion. By the end of 2017, they wanted to hit 1 billion devices. So they're a bit short of their projection, but just the fact that you can no longer get it for free isn't necessarily a good thing for Microsoft.
Yep. Okay. All right.
All right. So let us start off with, I think is one of the biggest stories of the day. And this is Tesla and SolarCity agree to a merger, although it's more Tesla is buying SolarCity. And if you are unfamiliar with these two companies, where have you been? Because they are Elon Musk's two projects, and he is bringing one into the fold of the other. So, yes, this is from Engadget and Mr. Steve Dent, but today, breaking news today, Tesla will buy SolarCity for $2.6 billion in a deal that unites two of Elon Musk's firms as one giant green energy company. So the merged business will sell solar panels, Powerwall batteries, which we've talked about, many, many times. The Powerwall battery systems are, the answer to generators. They're very, very cool. But and then they also plan on selling the electric cars that will run off of them. So it's the end-to-end clean energy solution promised by Elon Musk in his master plan Part 2 just 2 weeks ago. So SolarCity has revealed that it will introduce an integrated solar and storaging offering and a solar product focused on the 5 million new roofs installed each year in the U.S. So it sounds like they're going to be mixing their technology because, the Tesla and their Powerwall, that works very, very nicely with solar energy because your solar panels can charge your Powerwall, during peak hours, and then of course run the house off of the batteries in, at times when the sun is not shining. So, that's what he meant by end to end, is that it's going to generate power and then it's going to help you use that power. Store the power and use the power. Very, very cool. So, the article continues saying that Musk previously said that any merger would not impact Tesla's plans for the upcoming Model 3 EV and Gigafactory, which just officially opened. Again, the Gigafactory, again, assuming you know none of what this man is doing, the Gigafactory is the largest battery facility for, like large end batteries for cars and generators and things like that. It is the largest production facility, and of course owned by Tesla. So so while the companies will soon be united, Tesla and SolarCity have worked closely together over the years, and the latter was founded by Musk's cousin, who is a CEO, Lyndon Rive, and director Peter Rive. So Musk is, of course, the chairman and largest shareholder of both firms. I believe, if my mind is serving me correctly, Elon Musk actually owns 20% of SolarCity. So, it's not like he doesn't have any skin in the game. He's actually, 1/5 owner of the entire operation.
All right.
So, and of course he has a very, very commanding stake in Tesla Motors as well. This isn't anything new, but for those of you saying, well, why can one guy's company buy the same guy's company from the other? Isn't that conflict of interest? I believe anyone who has a stake in both companies at the same time, and they're on the board, abstain from voting, as to prevent any kind of tomfoolery. So the only board members that could vote were those who were strictly SolarCity or those that were strictly Tesla, and they agreed to the buyout. So that's cool. However, they're saying that SolarCity is set to release its earnings next week, and said that it installed more photovoltaic panels than forecasted last quarter. So, however, it added that the residential installation were down slightly. So the acquisition is not final, as it includes a go shop provision that will allow other potential buyers to submit offers for SolarCity until September 14, 2016. Now, a little bit behind the scenes of this, Craig.
Yes.
Want to hear something really strange?
Yes, I would.
is the fact that we've been hyping up solar here on the show for a while now because we kind of like, new technology
Sure.
specifically, but we also like green technology
Mhm.
because we all know that solar, wind, what have you, is going to be the future of energy production. At some point, fossil fuels just aren't going to make economic sense to pull them out of the ground, send them somewhere and burn them en masse. It's just going to be, hey, here's sunshine, here's energy.
Mhm.
But of all, or I'm sorry, but a lot of companies that are out there with Solar City, they are actually going under. Like they're not doing too well financially. And I've heard reports that a majority of solar companies out there, that make solar panels, that run solar energy
Yeah.
facilities, they're actually going to go out of business within the next couple of years.
Wow.
Some of the bigger ones, their stocks are down as much as 80%. It's, their bottom line just isn't being met. And a lot of people are speculating that Solar City is in the same kind of, is in the same boat. And Elon Musk, really pushed for this idea because if it was bought out by Tesla, then it puts them under it kind of protects the company from having to carry all of the weight of its own stock by itself. Because when it's bought out by the other one, then you tie it in more closely with Tesla, and Tesla continues to do well, even now.
Mhm.
So a lot of people think that this is just Elon Musk's strategy to kind of protect one of his other investments and one of his other projects by kind of sheltering it within the other.
Yeah.
Because Solar City itself is not anywhere close to actually turning a profit.
No.
So
Still, I love that. What is it? The battery that fits on the wall and the vacuum and it more.
yeah, Powerwall.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd love to get something like that for the home. I mean, that's certainly right.
Looks very convenient.
Very convenient. Certainly a lot more, than a gas generator. I mean, it looks like it's a Powerwall batteries. So, anything else on the story, or
anything else? No. Expect, of course, like the article said, they've been working closely together. Most of what Solar City does, it does, it ties in closely with Tesla and with their power wall and with their battery and their gigafactory. Essentially, they were already working together because Elon Musk is such a large vision for both companies, and because he is such such a big investor in both. Essentially, what he wanted to do, he kind of tied in both their futures together. So don't expect anything radical like, oh, Solar City just got bought out, now it's making more cars. No, Solar City is going to continue to be Solar City. It's just I got to agree with what I've read, and that this is just a move to protect Solar City to make sure it doesn't collapse in on itself before Elon Musk gets to his master plan.
Okay, cool. All right. Here's a little one. It's actually quite a long article, but I'm not going to get into it. It's just basically from CNET. Amazon makes noise canceling headphones, and so does Bose. There are a lot of the companies make them. They're really convenient. You want an airplane.
Oh, great for traveling.
Yeah, great for traveling. They're wonderful. Well, you figure, well, how much more could they improve it? I mean, they really cancel out most noise. They're very effective at what they do. But evidently, this is very clever. What if somebody needs to get to you and you can't hear them? Can you imagine the next generation of noise canceling headphones could turn off when someone yells your name? Now that would be pretty cool. All right, I think that would be great.
Noise canceling, but also listening.
Yeah, it's listening. And so when someone says, hey, Ben, or something like that, and calls that, and then they would turn off, and then you'd be able to hear everything. Oh, someone's calling me. And he goes, you'd want to know someone's calling your name, right? So evidently.
Right. I think that this was a patent that Amazon filed. Like, it's not actually in a product as of yet.
No, but it's something they're certainly considering, and that's where you get things like this. Now, he says muting the world might sound like bliss, but to walk around a busy city with only 4 senses in use can be a dangerous game. And but sometimes you need to hear a car horn or something like a siren. He said some of them actually have a manual pass-through button that mutes your music. But he says, but the industry needs to do something better before somebody actually gets hurt. And evidently, Amazon may be working on the first headphones that can save lives. They applied for a patent on the 19th of July for noise-canceling headphones that automatically clicks off when it hears certain sound patterns, frequencies, even keywords like a name.
I think that's the important part there, is that it's not just a name, it's sound patterns, frequencies, and even keywords, so that if they want to program it to, maybe let it be able to be programmed to your doorbell.
Yeah.
Then you can sit there with noise canceling headphones, and someone rings your doorbell, your headphones would turn off, and you'll be able to go over and answer your door, or even so much as maybe, like I said, a car horn or a police siren or what have you, just something that would be able to turn off something that really does block one of your 5 senses.
Yeah, exactly. Or it may just be the word "hey" and then your first name, like "Hey Ben," like "Hey Google," or maybe someone yelling "fire." You want them, you certainly want to know that. So obviously, you could program to do that. Now he says it's worth noting that the patent only protects the technology behind the invention and doesn't guarantee that headphones will actually be available to purchase anytime soon. But anyway, that was an interesting thing. They're always looking for new angles. And
It's a good idea.
It is a good idea. All right, 347-884-8881 is the number to get you on, get you through. When we come back, you're going to hear another brand spanking new news tips bulletin review from Marty Winston. That's all coming up. This one is the Micro Semi outdoor PoE switch. No, the LockSmart BT padlock. That's what it's going to be. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
One good thing about all this, son, vampires are now extinct. Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America. This time, Dog and Bone LockSmart Bluetooth padlocks. We got in both a larger round slice of disc size and a smaller, squarer mini model of LockSmart keyless Bluetooth padlocks from Dog and Bone. The base of each has a pairing button and a USB charging port. You can set up its app on several devices once you set up your login, and you can control multiple locks from within the app. We renamed the locks and added their pictures when we tested them. The app also lets you monitor each lock's remaining battery, and a brief recharge, even from a power puck, can make an otherwise dead lock usable. Bottom line, we don't always remember combinations or keys. So Dog and Bone LockSmart Bluetooth Mini and Standard padlocks let our handset take over. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. Here, 30 minutes past the hour. Thank you, Marty Winston, for that News Tip Bulletin review.
Yeah.
And just doing computer and technology news brought to you by Summer Utilities. As we continue on here, just finishing up this one about, Craig, any more comments about these headphones from Amazon that potentially are noise canceling, but turn off when keywords or certain tones or what have you activate the switch in there? So
Well, I think that said it all. That was a good story. Let's move on.
right. Oh, okay. That's a good one. So, all right. One of NVIDIA's most popular graphics cards.
Yeah.
And this is, and seriously, like when I say most popular, this was like the go-to graphics card for the longest time if you were into high-end gaming. And it's the GTX 970 just settled their class action lawsuit with everyone who purchased a GTX 970 will get $30. Not a hat, not an iPod case, not headphones, not $3. It's $30 per card. And if you bought 2 cards, $60 that you didn't know you had until you just heard this.
Yeah.
So, and again, it was a lawsuit over the RAM used within the card. So this is from Ars Technica. And a class action lawsuit against NVIDIA over a slow RAM partition has resulted in a proposed settlement that would pay $30 to anyone who bought the company's GTX 970 graphics card before its troubles came to light. So this happened in early 2015. A group of customers found that the GTX 970, which was advertised to have 4 gigs of GDDR5 RAM, experienced performance issues when pushed to the limits of that memory allotment. It then came to light that the graphics card only had 3.5 gigs of high-speed RAM, with the remaining 0.5 running roughly about 80% slower. Oh, the humanity. No, but really, you should get what you pay for. So, NVIDIA claimed at the time that there was an error in communication between the company's engineers and technical marketing team, saying that that is not intentionally misleading. So I guess their initial reaction was it was always 3.5, but our marketing team just latched on to the wrong number. We're sorry. So a year later, that position hasn't changed. According to the motion, the preliminary approval of the settlement filed in Northern California District Court said that NVIDIA continues to vigorously deny all claims that it was misleading customers. And the company, however, considered the risk and potential costs of continued litigation of this action and decided to work towards a settlement, the motion adds. So sounds like they're more than willing to just pay off a little money and say, let's move on, forget about it. We have better things to do than fight about our old cards. So after a year's worth of negotiations, lawyers representing customers and NVIDIA came to an agreement. So besides offering $30 for each unit purchased by a customer, NVIDIA will also pay $1.3 million in legal fees and plaintiff attorney fees. So you get $30, and the team of lawyers representing you get $1.3 million.
Lawyers always win.
Yeah, class action lawsuits usually don't work out too well or are not lucrative for anyone who is a member of them. In fact, they can actually be harmful, because if you were genuinely ripped off, hurt, or what have you by a company and you join a class action lawsuit because, hey, you want to bring legal action against them, you can actually forfeit your right to sue them again over similar issues.
Yeah.
So,
be careful.
Yeah. So again, if you are genuinely, mishandled by a company, maybe not join a class action, because again, I've never heard anyone say, I just got $1 million for my class action lawsuit, and it's amazing.
No, it isn't.
It does not happen.
No.
So,
No, I was going to say, and I was going to speak on some similar of other scans. I got another story here, but are you finished with that one? Because
no.
Oh, okay.
Halfway through it.
Oh,
wow, you're in such a rush. You don't want to talk about any of these.
I thought you were done. Right, go ahead. But you're right. You had class action lawsuits. You got like 15. I mean, Apple just had one settle against them, and everybody got what was it, an iPod case or $15 or something.
Yeah. They had one about their iPhones, and it's like you get like a free case or $15 credit that you can use at Apple. And it's like,
And
you
it
know,
was like
the
million
settlements are so sad.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
anyways, they have a quote here that I wanted to get out there was that one of the primary I'm sorry. There we go. One of the primary misrepresentations at issue is that the GTX 970 does not operate with a full 4 gigs of RAM, but rather with a 3.5 pool of RAM and a decoupled and less performant 0.5 gig spillover. So, a segment that operates at 1/7 the speed of the main pool. So, according to a settlement class member alleged that there were shortage of 0.5 gigs of RAM, or about 12.5%. Although it sounds like they weren't shorted 0.5 gigs RAM, they were just shorted 0.5 gigs of fully functioning RAM.
Yeah.
So
It's a performance issue.
it's a performance issue, and they said that they finally reached a settlement of $30 because of that number. And this is the part that I liked. They settled at about $30 because it was about 12.5% of it. Yeah, it was 12.5% of the initial purchase price, which was about $350.
Mhm.
So in return, they get 12.5% of their purchase price back for the 12.5% of the RAM that
Mhm.
didn't work as advertised. So
Great.
that's where you get the $30 from.
Yeah. It doesn't solve it.
It didn't solve it, but I thought that was a funny way to handle it. It was like, oh, it's underperforming by a certain percent, so you get a certain percent of your money back.
That is kind of funny.
Yeah, so I don't know how hard this is going to hit Nvidia's bottom line, but I think for the customers out there, if you purchased a 970 before all this happened, because after it happened, I'm sure they went back and made sure that the RAM was up to snuff, and after a certain date, it probably wouldn't apply to you. But if you went and bought a GTX when they first came out, you are definitely owed at least $30 per unit.
Yeah.
So go check that out.
Okay. Well, I guess it was an equitable way formula that they came up with.
Makes sense to some degree, but still, $30 is $30.
Yeah.
Who's gonna pass that up?
Yeah. Well. But I think the story was more interesting in the fact that the way they came up with a number. But
Yeah.
as you mentioned, the lawyers are the ones that win in the end. Yeah. I think Nvidia had to pay legal fees too, by the way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the legal fees are all the lawyers that represented all the people.
Yeah, $1.3 million in legal fees and plaintiff attorney fees. Well, now, how many of you have gotten that email, from the Nigerian prince who?
Oh, I just sent him a bank routing number.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't do it for the money, folks. I did it because I'm altruistic and I wanted to help a guy out. He seemed down on his luck.
Yeah. Well, evidently, this one deserves a round of applause. They've actually, according to this article, have caught the guy who did the Nigerian prince. Now, it may have been more than one guy who's been doing it, but the point is, according to the Ars Technica, the authorities arrested the alleged mastermind of $60 million worth of online scams.
And that's the worst part of it. He said he was struggling and he just needed, $1,000, $10,000. He's sitting there on $60 million.
Yeah, his name.
We're gonna make him a Nigerian prince at this point.
Mike is an unusual name for a Nigerian because that's his name, Mike. That's all we know. He used a network of 40 people across Africa, Asia, and Asia to execute schemes. So authorities finally arrested an alleged Nigerian online scammer accused of orchestrating schemes totaling more than $60 million. This is again according to Interpol. The 40-year-old man, who authorities have just have said is known as "quote-unquote" Mike, is also believed to have convinced one person. Get this, one person to pay out $15.4 million. Wow.
What?
From one guy, Mike got $15.4 million with the scheme. I mean,
it's really tied up in the banks. And I know you just sent your 13th payment of $1.2 million, but we're going to need another $3 million, man. Yeah. At this point, your return on Nigerian investment is going to be, we're going to send over $2.2 billion, but I
How gullible do you have to
not
be
even gullible.
as a human being to get suckered into something?
Not even gullible. How do you not have someone watching your accounts for you? If you have $15 million sitting in an account, how do you not have someone on the payroll that says, where's this money going? Should it be going there? And what exactly is it going to? How do you not have someone paying attention to
Well-
$15.4 million worth of
Well,
transactions?
Evidently, this guy didn't. Or
So
he-
crazy. So, yeah, it turns out these Nigerian scams are actually profitable once in a while. So I guess that's why you keep getting them.
Yeah. Well, evidently, this man was arrested in Port Harcourt in southern Nigeria. Mike and another unnamed Nigerian now face charges including hacking, conspiracy, and obtaining money under false pretenses. According to the International Law Enforcement Organization, Mike used a network of at least 40 individuals across Nigeria, Malaysia, and South Africa, which both provided malware and carried out the frauds. The alleged mastermind also had money laundering contacts in China, Europe, and the U.S., who provided bank account details for the illicit cash flow. The agency did not describe how Mike and his alleged co-conspirator were tracked down. They probably hacked them.
I mean, these guys are probably pretty good at hiding, providing their actual information. It sounds like, like they said, they had money laundering, contacts set up in China, Europe, and the U.S., and they had, people spread out across Nigeria, Malaysia, and South Africa, 3 countries that are not exactly known for their vigilant online policing.
Yeah.
So I think these guys would be pretty good at, making sure that their fingerprints aren't on this. But I would actually be very interested to see how they actually got these guys. It's usually not. It's like, yeah, I sent an email, but instead of clicking my scammer email address, I accidentally sent it on my personal email address. Whoops.
Whoops.
I would really be interested how they got caught.
Yeah. It's not covered in the purview of this article, but anyway, he did apparently use multiple methods. He engaged in payment diversion fraud, where a payment officer is fraudulently directed to pay a large amount of money to some account seemingly at an executive's behest. Mike also used romance scams, where lonely men and women are chatted up with a faux suitor that eventually ratchets up financial demands. I actually saw one case of that on what's his name, the TV show, Dr. Phil. The public, yeah. The public and especially businesses need to be alert to this type of cyber-enabled fraud. This is from the executive director of the Interpol Global Complex. Basic security protocols such as two-factor authentication and verification by the means before making a money transfer are essential to reduce the risk of falling victim to these scams. So basically, there it is. That's all we know at this point. All we know, they've caught him. We don't know how they caught him, which I thought would be an interesting story, but we'll keep an eye on this. But evidently, the Nigerian prince scam hopefully is at least over for now. So somebody else picks it up.
This particular one, but as you know, there's never just one culprit of these kinds of scams.
Yeah. Although he was the head of a fairly large organization, so
right.
And I don't know if I mentioned this. Did I mention that I got one of the scam? I got a phone call from someone who it was supposedly from Microsoft. Saying that they were calling me about my computer, that it had an issue.
No, but that's a pretty common one.
Yeah, I got the call, and I just paused for. I just didn't get into it. I said, "You should be ashamed of yourself." That's what I said.
You just said you should have been. You should have said you should be ashamed of yourself. I am an Apple user. How dare you try to ply your Microsoft around here? Get off my phone. Click. No. You yelled at them because, folks, if anyone calls you on the phone saying that they are calling you on behalf of Microsoft, they at worst they'll send you emails to your connected account, but really Microsoft will not contact you, honestly.
No, and make claims that your computer has been infected, and they were calling to see if they could get it removed.
Right.
I could hear it. She was calling from what sounded like an older woman. In her 70s. And
she have an accent?
No, she didn't. Yeah, she had some sort of a thick accent, but she was in a room with a lot.
I'm just saying, U.S. based or out of the country?
Of course, caller ID was blocked. So I don't know, but
you could hear other people. So obviously, it was some kind of big call center
By the
maybe
way,
scam.
this is a good lead into that. For those of you who are frustrated when you get a call blocked on your cell phone and everything, I mentioned that we're going to have Teletech on the show on the 12th of August. They have a new service that will allow you the spoof card where you can spoof your phones. But if somebody calls you and blocks the caller ID, they have a service now that will strip off that protection, and you can see who's calling you, where they're calling you from, and even record it, the conversation if you want to. It's something new, and it's called Track Call from Teletech, and yet one of the many new technologies that they're going to be talking about when they come on the show on the 12th of August. So some additional tools that will help arm you in the war against people trying to do you cyber harm.
You know what I had heard?
What?
Someone made this a lucrative investment. So there's a law passed by the FCC that robocalls are illegal. This happened a couple of years ago.
Right.
We covered it. Robocalls are illegal. But the law doesn't just pertain to robocalls. It pertains to any piece of hardware that if it automatically dials from a list. So, let's say there's a company there's a call center out there, and Craig, I'm sure you were a victim of it, just a minute ago, that if it calls you and there's some form of automation attached to the phone or the system, then they are breaking that law, and you can actually you can sue them in court for, I want to say, about $3,000 for every single instance of a robocall. Of course, finding the company and hiring a lawyer and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't exactly make it too profitable, and actually a pretty big headache, because these Craig, can you imagine trying to track down the company that tried to call you?
No, and I'm sure it was probably overseas someplace.
Right. Yeah. There's a number of factors, but there was a gentleman that I had heard about. He opened up 60 different phone lines from a company like Verizon or Sprint or something like that. He opened up 60 different cell phone lines, and there was a rumor going around that these companies had a way of getting newly registered phone numbers, putting them on a list. So he opened up 60 of them, had a lawyer on retainer, and through the 60 phone lines that he had opened up, he got himself something like $3 million in court.
Ooh.
Tracking down these companies that were offering him, security for your house, or for, your bank card was stolen, or what have you. All these robocalls, because they all were using, even though there's a person on the other end, they think that keeps them from being a robocall. No, if they have any kind of software that automates the dialing process, then they can get in trouble. So, again, just a man willing to put in the work and willing to waste the legal resources of this country was able to get himself a couple $1 million by opening up a bunch of phone lines and actually baiting all of these robocalls.
There was another thing. We're going to have another company. This is not Teltec, but another company offers something called a Lucy phone. And Lucy phone basically is how many of us have tried to contact customer service call only to be put on hold or rerouted, and you have to wait. Lucy Call is a new app that basically will dial the company. Even has them list them all, whatever be my AAA or your bank, what have you, and then we'll dial you back when it actually gets a live living person on the other phone that you can speak with, so you don't have to wait and spend hours and hours and hours. We're going to have them on the show too. One of the co-founders of the is going to be on the show in the upcoming month as well.
Last time I was given the runaround, it was by a large. It was Comcast. So. Last time I was given the runaround, it was Comcast, and I was trying to get a straight answer. It was during the caps that they were starting to implement on people.
Yeah.
350 gigs a month and things like that. And I got a flyer saying that, hey, we're coming to your area. We have Xfinity, blah blah blah, with the super fast internet service. And I just wanted to talk to someone before I signed up, to get an answer on whether or not they were trying to cap me. And yeah, I spent 3 hours being bounced from technical support to account management to new accounts to billing to
Ah.
they bounced me everywhere and no one would give me a straight answer. It was, oh, what a headache. What a headache. So
Yeah, and by the way, there's one other one too. I just mentioned the app that you can, but there's also another service that you can call, use, and basically you set it up on the web. It's a website, and it allows you to actually place a call to whatever company, and then when it gets a live person, it will dial that the website will dial your phone number, connecting you to whomever you're trying to get through. So you don't have to sit on hold and wait for all of that. That's also available. So if you don't use your smartphone, you can use your computer to do the same thing.
right. So I think we have time for one more story that we can squeeze in here. Let's make it a good one.
Okay.
And yeah, there aren't that many. No, I'm kidding. There's a lot.
How about
there's
the
a lot of good ones.
how about the Pokemon? This.
Yeah, I guess. So Pokemon Go has been going through some struggling. Has been going through a couple of struggles lately because Niantic had their first ever, kind of Q&A with their user base, and they're asking when people are going to, when Niantic is going to fix a lot of problems. So instead, they start cracking down on some of the other features that people have been kind of doing behind the scenes that violate the spirit of the game, but actually provide very useful information that before wasn't being allowed by Niantic. So, anyways, this is from CNET, and Pokemon Go community is furious after tracking app crackdown. So, of course, it seemed like Pokemon Go's Friday update was all for the better, but many of the game's more dedicated players don't feel that way. So, on Reddit, players were actively blasting developer Niantic for removing features and cracking down on third-party apps that help them find Pokemon in the game. So, originally, Pokemon Go had a system called Nearby that would show how close wild Pokemon were by the footprints underneath the character. So if you opened up your Pokemon Go and you saw Pokemon near you, it would have 1, 2, or 3 footprints, and of course these being if they were close or not. So 1 footprint pretty darn close, 2 not so, 3 very far away. So instead of fixing, because there was a bug that caused every single Pokemon that popped up to have 3 footprints, and it never really shows you any indication of where the Pokemon actually were, instead of fixing it, they took the footprints out. So, and of course, like the article says, it was initially very, very buggy. So it wouldn't work reliably for many, many players. So in response, software developers in the Pokemon Go community decided to make their own Pokemon finding apps like Pokevision using the very same data used by the game. So instead, they released a tweet saying that, oh, whoops, I'm actually going to the tweet now. Sorry, guys, we took the Teespring, the Teespring down because while we do want Pokevision to be up, we can't guarantee it and don't want to give false hope. So essentially, they didn't have control over it, so they did not want to, kind of let something so unsupervised go while it's happening. They, kind of go on under their purview. So, mind you, of course, that these people are not yet sure whether these apps are actually being threatened with legal action, but they did not reply to requests for comment. Another big thing I have heard is that they took out, they're taking features out that people are finding troublesome or buggy, and there's a lot of features that people are requesting that Niantic actually is not listening to. So actually, if you go to the Pokemon, if you go to the App Store on Android or iPhone, last I heard, Niantic and Pokemon Go was actually down to 2 stars. If you put any kind of weight into customer reviews, then you'll know that 2 stars is not exactly the best, and definitely not indicative of how popular Pokemon Go has been. Like, Niantic is really not handling this well when it goes about blocking all these apps that makes their game more usable. So, yep, there's like I said, the whole Q&A thing was just a giant just a giant fest of here's services that people are using. We're going to take them down, or we're going to make them stop working because this is not how we want it done. And yet, a lot of the more vocal fan base is saying, we don't want, we want more functionality, and you aren't providing it, and now you're not letting third parties provide that functionality. We're mad.
Yeah.
So,
well, we're about out of time. And again, I want to thank our first hour guest from Workbench, Chris Sleet, founder and CEO of Workbench, for joining us.
90 seconds.
Coming up tomorrow in the second hour, of course, we'll have more computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. In the first hour, we're going to have DX Racer here. They make a line of high-performance chairs. Yeah, exactly.
They got like their DX Racer, makes it think of race cars, but yeah, they're like bucket seats. They're very, very cool looking.
They're ergonomic gaming and office chairs, and they're
60 seconds.
really slick looking. They some of them are lit with multiple colors. I mean, gorgeous. Anyway, we're going to have John Spire, who is the marketing director from DX Racer, is going to be joining us tomorrow. And if you're into gaming, this is one that you're going to really want to listen to. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, thanks to all of you for being here with us on today's show. It was a lot of fun. And, Ben and I are going to be here tomorrow, same time, same place, same stations. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye-bye. Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah, that too.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, again, everybody, thanks for watching on our live video stream. And as I said, DX Racer is going to be here tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.